Hi guys, and welcome to today's Legal 101. It's a Thursday, so perhaps you assume it's on environment and land law, but we're switching gears today to aviation law. Remember I said from the very first video that we would be switching gears every once in a while to expand our horizons. Now, aside from being aviation law, it's also an ode to some of my classmates. I will just name them here: Wanjala, Gitonga, Kiarie, Wachira, Mbae and Trizah. And perhaps this is something that you could learn from this Legal on One, that it is important to keep in touch with people who you went to school with. When you become professionals, they're the people you talk to and confide in and seek guidance from when you need it. Now, a few weeks ago, I needed some pointers on aviation law. Now, the facts of the case I was dealing with was that a person was traveling from point A to point C, and they stopped at point B for a few days and then proceeded to point C. Now, when they got to point C and they were traveling by air using a foreign airline, when they got to point C, they realized that their luggage had not been onboarded from point B to point C, and they raised that issue, and it was resolved within a day. But of course, if you don't have your clothes, you don't have your personal items, that's a huge inconvenience. But it was resolved the following day. She stayed at point C for a few days, and then when she was ready to now come back to point A, the airline told her that her ticket was invalid from the get-go, that they don't understand how she made it from point A to point C. They did not bring her to point C, and therefore they were not going to return her to point A. She tried to show them the air tickets. They were not budging. So she had booked the tickets through an agent while at point A, and so she called the agents, and the agents were quickly able to put her in another aeroplane, and she was able to go back to point A. Now, her issue is that there is an element of negligence, that she had an expectation that she would be returned to point A safely, that she would be treated with some semblance of decorum by the airlines. So she's a Kenyan, so she was seeking redress against the airlines. Now, so I looked up the provisions of the Civil Aviation Act, and having never actually done any work that involves aviation law, I consulted my classmates, and the people I mentioned earlier came through for me. Now, so eventually they encouraged me to go before the Civil Aviation Administrative Review Tribunal, and in that tribunal you raise the pertinent issues that I have just mentioned to you, and you raise them under the Civil Aviation Act, which provides the functions of the Director General and the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, which include technical operations of aeroplanes and airlines, etc., but also includes ensuring consumer rights are protected. Okay, the consumer being the air traveler. Okay, and so they advised that I lodge a complaint before the tribunal, and that I seek for damages. Okay, which then prompted me to go and read more case law emanating from that tribunal to see the manner in which they deal with these things. And true to their advice, I found case law where people have sued for negligence, refund of their air tickets, damages for violation of their consumer rights. They have even sued for, in some instances you don't get your luggage back. And Wachira was one of the people who was telling me, if they didn't get their personal utilities back, this is how much each costs. So eventually I got the help I needed. I was able to advise my client comprehensively. And yeah, so I wanted to inform you that many people spend maybe 120,000 or 300 and something thousand, and then you reach a hurdle at an airline somewhere, and you get your stuff, or you're able to come back home and you feel, what is there? I have already gotten back home, I am safe and sound. But actually, and then you look at the quantum, you think, just 360,000, but that's actually a violation to your human right. your consumer rights, because imagine you're left in a country where perhaps you have nobody to turn to. You might have to spend the night at a place that you're unfamiliar with. You might have to incur extra costs that you did not plan to, just to be safe. And so it is just to encourage you that if you face similar issues, or people who have, then you still have redress. Okay, and it's also to pay homage to my classmates and encourage you to keep in touch with them. It is important. They will be the who is who in your lives forever. Okay, that marks the end of today's Legal on One. See you tomorrow, Friday. Yes, bye.